Part 47. The soul travels through the 18th line, the female agent is killing crazy in the entertainment. Author, Bulletin Yehoyun Li. Chapter 461. After seeing off the visiting fans, the crew went to the lounge to eat lunch together. Everyone discussed today's visit with great interest and speculated on what dirty tricks Flying Cloud Sword would do next. However, before the lunch was finished, a heavy rain came down unexpectedly. Wow! This rain was very heavy. Within a few minutes, there was a puddle of water on the ground. The sky is connected by the rain. Looking at this posture, I won't be able to stop for a while. Even if the rain stops, we won't be able to shoot anymore. Director Sue regretted and sighed helplessly. I originally wanted to finish shooting the 2 fight scenes today. Forget it, everyone is tired today, so let's finish the work early. Great. I'm going to Women's Street to eat skewers. Smelling the fragrance of Women's Street every day, I'm almost starved for it. The meat skewers we ordered are all burnt. It's better to eat them on the spot. Cheers erupted in the lounge. I don't understand Director Sue's anxious mood at all. Director Sue laughed and scolded, "You are still running out on such a rainy day. What a bunch of foodies." After a while, the staff dispersed. Director Sue called Chen Yugzu and said with some worry, "Yugzu, be careful lately, don't go out alone, and ask your wife to pay more attention." Chen Yugzu raised his eyebrows. Director Sue is worried that what I say will make some people take drastic actions. I am also getting older and timid. Director Sue sighed, "No matter what, it is always right to be more careful." Chen Yugzu didn't pay much attention, but he nodded without arguing. He was anxious to go back to the house he rented nearby to be with his wife. And Cheng Ling, the model of diligence, unexpectedly said goodbye to Director Sue in a rare occasion, drove his own car, and left the crew, going somewhere unknown. Director Sue looked at the empty lounge, sighed, and enviously muttered to himself, "It's better to be young. Not so worried." After feeling envious, he held his waist and went to sort out the shooting plan. That night, the questions asked by the crew of Song of Light and Blood were compiled into short articles and video screenshots by netizens and posted on the public platform, detonating the entire network. In particular, Chen Yugzu's discussion of women's issues opened up a new perspective for people. One article after another in moments is being forwarded like a snowflake. What can we bring to women? Is pregnancy a woman's business alone, or is it a family thing, or is it about society as a whole? Why are women unwilling to get married and have children? What role should men play in the family? The topic that people always avoid talking about is once again placed in the middle of the table. An anthropologist wrote an article. The article explains many social problems and their causes. Modern women's social status often becomes very low after getting married and having children. Their quality of life plummets due to reduced or lost income. Laws and policies seem to be invisible. People turn a blind eye to the suffering of women. Women are responsible for more than 85% of the responsibilities of raising children, but their legal rights are not protected. It can be said that most women after giving birth have little dignity. Their survival can only depend on the character of their children's fathers. So, women don't want to have children. Isn't this normal? The warmth of family, dim lights, and delicious meals. This warmth is burning and consuming women. Most of the warm, clean, and comfortable homes are decorated and maintained by women. Most of the delicious meals and the mess after the meal are taken care of by women. If we refuse to face up to the sacrifice and pain of women, society will continue to regress. If each has its own division of labor, then don't shy away from each other's contributions and sacrifices. Especially society. If you keep avoiding it, keep pretending that you don't see the crux, then it will only aggravate the condition. He called on everyone to face up to the risks of childbirth, see women's sacrifices, and called on society to give pregnant women more care and attention, urging the enactment of relevant laws to enforce the protection of women's legal rights. This article, along with the screenshots of Chen Yuxu's live broadcast compiled by the Big V, caused an uproar. Many people went to leave comments on the latest Weibo post on Chen Yuxu's homepage. There were the roars of mothers with long-standing grievances. There are also men who suffer from oppression in the workplace. However, there are some people with ulterior motives who are fanning the flames and stirring up emotions on both sides. Instigator: which woman doesn't have children? Why are you the only one who has so many things to do? Instigator: after looking around, I understand that women just can't read. If you read too much, you will think you are more awesome. Instigator: thank you for having a uterus. Without a uterus, men wouldn't want you at all. Instigator: you men are all stupid pigs. Society functions better without you men. Instigator: your crew's buttocks are crooked from top to bottom. Is it just because it is a drama with a female protagonist that it tries so hard to please the female audience? Instigator: this book was written with the blood of thousands of people, male compatriots. Stand up and boycott Light and Blood together. Even more terrifying are the death threats. Chen Yuxu, can you promise not to be left alone in the future? Can you ensure that there is someone around you, and can you ensure that your children and wife are not left alone? If I can't kill you, I've lived my life in vain. At #%you, your mother UN %#. Does your child want to survive in society in the future? If you give birth to a son, then he will be the public enemy of all men. If you give birth to a daughter, then no one will dare to marry your daughter. She will be a failure who can't get married. The soul travels through the 18th line. The female agent is killing crazy in the entertainment. Author, Bulletin Yehoyun Li. Chapter 462. Chen Yuxu is not a glass-hearted man. He himself is in the entertainment industry and has climbed to the top from being unknown. It can be said that he has seen all kinds of storms and heard all kinds of good and bad words. He has a big heart. He rarely responds to those who criticize him or praise him. However, he could not tolerate anyone insulting his family. Once, because he made his relationship public, fans collectively scolded his wife online, and he responded directly and violently. But fans did not stop attacking his wife because of his defense. Chen Yuxu made a resolute decision. When his career was at its peak, he cleanly left the entertainment industry. Now, netizens are scolding the child in his wife's belly. Can Chen Yuxu endure it? Joke. That night, Chen Yuxu posted a long Weibo post. Chen Yuxu, if you want to criticize me, come at me. What species are those who scold children? I browsed through it casually, and most of the people who attacked me were men, and a few were women. If my son is ostracized by his group because of my correct remarks, I should be happy and I will take him out of that group in time, because that group is a low-level group. It is a group without hope. If my wife gives birth to a daughter, from the moment she can speak, I will tell her that she is her. She is an individual. The meaning and value of her existence never need others to prove it, especially men. I want to tell all my friends, don't try to conquer and control your partner. Please become comrades with your partner. Please join hands with him/her to face this hummed-up world. This Weibo post is extremely popular, much higher than the second place on the popularity list. Investors are delighted. The phone number on the business side was buzzing with calls from enthusiastic GG merchants. The wave of popularity of Light and Blood is, in the eyes of businessmen, an excellent opportunity to cash in. Director Su was not happy. He called Chen Yuxu and said earnestly, "Yuxu, I personally agree with what you said. However, if the wind is beautiful in the forest, the wind will destroy it. You'd better restrain yourself. As far as I know, the people who were at the same time as you at that time, many male celebrities, when they heard that you were in trouble again, were trying to cause trouble for you." Before answering the phone, Chen Yuxu had just been scolded by his wife. He rubbed his brows and said, "I understand, Director Sue. I'll pay attention in the future. Director Suicide. From what he said, he didn't want to delete Weibo. Forget it, find a relationship yourself and take care of things. If you can't find another hot topic, just suppress the topic of Chen Yuxu. However, the popularity of Chen Yuxu's topic is too high. It would take a scandal involving an A-list celebrity to overshadow Chen Yuxu's popularity. While Director Sue was in a state of despair, there was a topic that was quietly gaining popularity, but was rising extremely quickly on the hot list. Soon, the popularity surpassed that of Chen Yuxu's Weibo. #blast. Flying Cloud Sword is suspected of unfair competition. Hashtag Real Hammer. Flying Cloud Sword paid a professional Sunspot studio to smear the same crew. Link #. #FemaleProtagonist and male protagonist Heezaji publicly criticized Chen Yuxu for being both arrogant and arrogant. The two were once classmates. Hashtag spends a lot of money to delete hot searches, delete comments, and control the popularity. So disgusting. Hashtag resist any unfair competition. The reason why domestic entertainment is so chaotic is because of the existence of these people. Hashtag Jia Shixin pretended to be a fan and ran to the set of Light and Blood to fight fakes. Chen Ling found out that this incident was released from the Weibo Black Room. Previously, this topic had never been able to enter the top 100 trending lists, and it would also be blocked after being posted. Director Sue looked at the hot list on Weibo and was confused. Who is helping the crew of Light and Blood? Asterisk. Heavy rain made the night darker. Chen Ling, who was sitting in the cab of the black Hummer, leaned back on the chair and looked out the window. Heavy raindrops pounded heavily on the car window. She didn't turn on the wipers, letting the rain blur the front windshield. There is an illusion that the next moment will be swallowed up by the rain. Chen Ling likes to feel the heavy rain up close. Human beings seem so small and insignificant in front of the absolute power of nature. With her thin but shiny fingers, she tapped the steering wheel lightly and said with a smile on the phone, "Thank you, Dad, I will make you your favorite roast duck with garlic butter when you get home." Father Chen recalled the smell of roast duck, and his salivary glands instantly became active. After swallowing, he looked at the form in his hand and continued. I also checked Chen Yuxu's Weibo. Those who issued death threats and insulted his family's comments were indeed promoters. Most of them were bought by celebrities who were Chen Yuxu's contemporaries. Among them, the one that deserves special attention is a quasi-A-list female star named Ren Huatong. She was Chen Yuxu's classmate when he was studying at the Film and Television Academy. She spent a lot of money this time. The studio suspects that love breeds hatred. Ren Huatong has been fanatically pursuing Chen Yuxu since she was a student. Unfortunately, Luahua was ruthless and Chen Yuxu never responded to her feelings. If possible, you'd better remind Chen Yuxu to be careful about this female star. Chen Ling silently wrote down, "Thank you, Dad." After hanging up the phone, Chen Ling picked up a black umbrella from the passenger seat and opened the door. Opening the umbrella, Chen Ling jumped out of the car, closed the door, raised the umbrella, and looked at the shabby three-story building in front of him from under the umbrella. There was an inconspicuous sign hanging at the door of the building, which should have read Jiaoshizan Chess and Card Room. But several of the light bulbs used for lighting went out, and only the 4 words Jiao *San Chess and Card could be seen. The door of the chess and card room was half open, and shouts and the strong smell of cigarettes rushed out from the gap of the door. Chen Ling held a huge black umbrella, faced the heavy rain, and walked steadily towards the door of the chess and card room. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The soul travels through the 18th line, the female agent is killing crazy in the entertainment. Author, Bulletin Yehoyun Li. Chapter 463. Porcelain horse is stunned, you are trying to pack a melon. You piece of shit. I lost all my pants. Accompanied by the sound of mahjong playing and swearing, Chen Ling pushed open the door of the chess and card room. The leaves of the old wooden door were rusty and made a loud sound. Squeak. Xiao Shizhen was holding a cigarette in his mouth and frowning. His eyes were blinded by the blue smoke from the cigarette. He squinted and looked out the door. Standing at the door was an upright woman wearing a black waterproof jacket, crisp blue jeans, and yellow hiking shoes. It's a pity that a woman with such a good figure has such a gaunt face. Small eyes, bad nose, and pock marks on his face. The eyes are quite bright. Xiao Shizhen patted the young man behind him. The young man followed Master 13's eyes, looked at the door, and immediately started shouting. Someone's mother-in-law is here. Chen Ling's standard local dialect, I'm not here to find a man. Then are you here to see Dad? There was laughter in the room, and people in twos and threes laughed. Good girl. Accept me as your godfather, and I will go with you. She looks a bit ugly, but she is also a handsome girl when the lights are turned off. At the chess and card table next to Chen Ling, a wretched man with an unshaven beard stood up. He looked at Chen Ling's chest and chuckled, my dear girl, lightly, lightly. Before he could finish his teasing words, they turned into screams. Chen Ling twisted his maliciously extended right hand hard, twisting the man's hand behind his back, and then kicked it with his foot. The big leather shoe just hit the man's butt. Chen Ling let go, and the man threw himself onto Xiao Shizhen's mahjong table. Clatter! Clatter! Mahjong was scattered all over the floor. The atmosphere in the room changed instantly. Everyone at the chess and card table stood up and looked at Chen Ling fiercely. Chen Ling clapped his hands, and facing a room full of angry people, he said calmly, you want to recognize me as your father, but I despise a son like you who is shabby. Everyone stands up. The house became quiet, and the noisy rain outside suddenly became noticeable. Only Xiao Shizhen sat firmly on his chair. Chen Ling looked at him. Xiao Shizhen raised his hand and took out the cigarette he was holding in his mouth, spat on the ground, and said slowly, who are you, who dare to cause trouble on my Xiao Shizhen territory? Master 13, you are wrong. I am not here to cause trouble, I am here to discuss business. Chen Ling smiled heartily. Xiao Shizhen was speechless. He looked askance at the unshaven man standing on the ground, holding his waist and saying ouch, ouch. That means, you came to my territory, beat up my people, and still said you were here to discuss business. But Xiao Shizhen did not dare to immediately gather his men to beat Chen Ling. The only person who makes a scene in the chess and card room is a young woman who talks about business. Either there is something wrong with his brain, or he is really capable. This woman obviously doesn't have a brain problem. Then whose person is she? Xiao Shizhen flirted with the big guys he knew and was sure that he had never seen the woman in front of him. Chen Ling saw that Xiao Shizhen didn't speak, so she didn't say much. Instead, she put down the wet umbrella in her hand and placed it by the wall. A pool of water instantly appeared on the ground. Only then did Xiao Shizhen notice that she was also carrying a black school bag. Chen Ling took off his black school bag. The bag was bulging and he didn't know what it contained. She reached into her bag and touched it, then raised her hand. Something the size of a brick flew straight towards Xiao Shizhen. 13th Master, be careful. You thief, how dare you use a hidden weapon? Xiao Shizhen didn't move. The brick-like thing just landed on the mahjong table in front of him. It was something wrapped in oil paper. Chen Ling smiled, Master 13 is so brave. Everyone around him subconsciously hid, but Xiao Shizhen was as stable as a mountain. Xiao Shizhen's heart stopped for a moment, and then started beating wildly. It wasn't that his expression remained unchanged despite the collapse of Mount Tai, it was because Chen Ling's speed was so fast that he didn't even have time to react. Chen Ling naturally saw it. However, she gave Qiao Shizhen a step forward very naturally and considerately. Qiao Shizhen swallowed silently, making sure that his voice would not tremble, and then said, "What is it?" "You'll know after you open it and take a look." Chen Ling smiled. The men stepped forward and opened it. 10 bundles of Chinese coins were neatly numbered. A total of 100,000 yuan. "This is it." Qiao Shizhen looked at Chen Ling. "Is she really here to discuss business?" Chen Ling said nothing and raised his hand again. Another brick flew towards Qiao Shizhen. The brick landed firmly on the first brick. The edges are perfectly aligned. Qiao Shizhen knew that the other party had a tough idea. Can the job given by hard ideas be simple? The soul travels through the 18th line, the female agent is killing crazy in the entertainment. Author, Bulletin Yehoyun Li. Chapter 464. Chen Ling didn't wait for Qiao Shizhen to speak, but there was another bump. Everyone in the room stared at the $300,000 on the table. Silence. The silence was filled with greed. Greed is mixed with fear. Chen Ling put his backpack on his back and finally spoke. "Here is a deposit of 300,000 yuan. After the work is completed, we will give you another 300,000 yuan. Mr. 13th, are you interested in eating this bowl of rice?" Qiao Shizhen stared at the $300,000 on the table. He could hear the voices of his subordinates in the room, and by taking this job, he would have enough money to buy New Year's goods during the Spring Festival. But reason triumphed over greed. This woman is so weird. Qiao Shizhen didn't dare to accept it easily. "Girl, what kind of work are you doing? I'm afraid it will hurt my teeth after eating such a big bowl of rice." Qiao Shizhen took out the almost burned cigarette in his mouth and pressed the cigarette butt hard on the armrest of the wooden chair. "I'm getting older and I still have to take my grandson to and from school. These days, with high technology, you can really do illegal things like killing people and stealing goods, and you can't run away. The note can be pressed to the ground the next day." He, Qiao Shizhen, took over the small jobs. But the problem is, you don't need to pay so much money to make a small fuss. This kind of money is definitely not a piece of cake. Chen Ling was already prepared. She laughed. 13th Master, I know that you are always a good citizen who abides by the law. Don't worry, I won't let you do bad things. Moreover, it is also a great good thing. Chen Ling paused after saying this and looked around the smoky hall. It's not convenient to talk here. Do you want to talk to me alone? I've told you my business, and if you're not willing to accept it, I'll raise it immediately. There is nothing wrong with walking away from someone's feet. Speaking of this, if Qiao Shizhen refuses again, he will be shameless in front of his subordinates in the future. "Shunzi, clean up the tea room," Qiao Shizhen said. Not to mention, Qiao Shizhen's tea room was quite elegant, beyond Chen Ling's expectation. The round window, daking table, Ming Dynasty-style official hat chair, Zen chair, and tea seat all have a unique classical and elegant flavor. There are all the tea utensils on the table, and the tea pet is a toad. It can be seen that it has been soaked in tea for many years. The men placed the $300,000 respectfully on the table in the tea room. Then he retreated, not forgetting to close the door. 13th Master, the tea room is really good. Chen Ling looked around with a rather surprised tone. "Excuse me," Qiao Shizhen handed over his hand. "Girl, what do you call me?" "My surname is Chang," Chen Ling said. "Miss Chang, let's open the skylight and tell the truth. What exactly is the business Miss Chang gave me about Qiao?" Chen Ling sat on the chair and got straight to the point. "It's very simple. A new couple from out of town have moved into the residential building behind your chess and card room. As for me, I'm asking you to take care of these two people. They are a couple. The girl is 3 months pregnant, and the boy is a star. He has been filming here in Xianyang recently. Both of them are good friends of mine. But, that male friend was outspoken and told the truth, but he offended some villains. I'm worried that these villains will make things difficult for my two friends. Xiao Shizhen wanted to speak, but Chen Ling raised her hand. Don't worry, just listen to what I have to say. I know that Mr. 13 has lived here for generations and is famous and prestigious. Nothing can escape your eyes. Don't worry, I won't embarrass you. If you can protect it, just block it. If you think something is wrong, just call me. I will bring someone here within 5 minutes. I can't hurt you. And your people. My request has 3 points. First, you must not let them know that you are protecting them secretly. Second, they must not be out of sight 24 hours a day. When they enter the house, you have someone waiting at the door. Chapter 3, don't let anyone suspicious enter their home. The work is a bit trivial and wastes time. This 300,000 yuan should be considered as work loss pay for you and your buddies. Don't think it's too little. Is that all? It's too simple. Xiao Shizhen felt that these 300,000. No, 600,000 were just like the ones he picked up. He asked, Miss Chang, why don't you find a professional bodyguard team? Professional team? In Xianyang, they are all outsiders. She raised her hand and drew a circle on the table. Here, you are this dash. Chen Ling gave a thumbs up. As the saying goes, cats have cat lanes, rats have rat lanes. In a 1,000-year-old city like Xianyang, the urban area is a combination of old and new, making it extremely complex. Outsiders can only float on the surface, but there are so many twists and turns inside that no one with 3 to 5 years of experience can figure out. You have to be a local person who has lived there for several generations to know. Xiao Shizhen is such a person. Xiao Shizhen's great-great-grandfather lived in this old city. Up to Xiao Shizhen's generation, he had never left Xianyang city. And Xiao Shizhen belongs to the most down-to-earth group in the market. Chen Ling said that nothing can be hidden from his eyes, not to flatter him. Xiao Shizhen can detect any disturbance first. Chen Ling noticed that the corners of Xiao Shizhen's mouth curled up. She knew it was done. Chen Ling pushed the 3 bricks of cash in front of Xiao Shizhen and grinned. How about it, Master 13? Can we negotiate this business? The soul travels through the 18th line. The female agent is killing crazy in the entertainment. Author, Buletin Yehoyun Li. Chapter 465. Thank you, Miss Chang, for looking up to me, Mr. Xiao. Xiao Shizhen poured a cup of tea for Chen Ling, please. Chen Ling took it and drank it in one gulp. Master 13, then I will leave it to you to protect these 2 friends of mine. Chen Ling stood up. If the brothers are injured, I won't pay a penny less for medical expenses and nutritional expenses. Miss Chang, you are so refreshing. Xiao Shizhen also drank all the tea in his cup. The 2 men laughed. After laughing, Xiao Shizhen respectfully led Chen Ling to the gate. A clever person stepped forward to open the door for Chen Ling and hold an umbrella. Chen Ling smiled and took the umbrella. Master Lao Shizhen has taken the trouble. After saying that, she strolled into the rain. Asterisk. In the early morning, the sky cleared and was cloudless. Director Su delayed the filming for a long time and was worried about Chen Yuxu, so he didn't sleep well all night. The crew of Light and Blood has been in constant turmoil since the announcement of the start of filming. Director Su felt uneasy. Director Su secretly laughed at himself. The older he gets, the more timid he becomes. When I was young, I held my head high every day and was not afraid even if the emperor came. The more things you experience, the more things you fear. He doesn't expect Light and Blood to be a big hit now, he just hopes that the drama can be successfully filmed, finalized, submitted for review, and scheduled for broadcast. Don't let any more moths happen. When I woke up in the morning, Director Su, who had been thinking too much all night, had a layer of big shiny bubbles on the corners of his mouth. Everyone gathers on the set. As soon as Chen Yuxu arrived, he immediately bowed at 90 degrees and apologized. "I'm sorry. I was too impulsive in my speech and Weibo post yesterday. I caused trouble to everyone. I will be cautious in my words and deeds in the future." Director Su couldn't say anything else. He said sincerely, "The two most difficult things in this world are to instill your thoughts into other people's heads. The other is to make other people's money into your own pocket. I won't say much else. Yes, everyone here is a smart person." Director Su cherishes words like gold and clicks them to the end. The most important thing now is to seize the time to film the drama. He lowered his head and turned over the script, saying as he did so, "There are a total of 8 scenes filmed today. 5 of them require fighting scenes with Weah. Chen Ling, you only have 3 scenes, how about it? Can you handle it?" Everyone on the field looked at Chen Ling. Filming 3 yaoi fight scenes in one day was a huge challenge. Weah is a transliteration of the English word wire. In fact, during the filming process of the film and television drama, the actors were hung with wire ropes, and the actors cooperated with Ravia's master to perform some difficult martial arts moves. Diao Weiya looks interesting, but is actually quite hard. When a person is hung up by Weah, his waist and crotch will be very painful. Actors must endure pain, manage their expressions well, and coordinate their movements with the wire master. If there is no good cooperation, the actor will get injured. Even if he is not injured, the rhythm is not right and he will not be able to pass the scene, and he will have to shoot it again. The scenes of wire hanging often need to be shot many times before they can pass the test. Most actors don't like filming costumed martial arts dramas because they reject Diao Yat. In just one day, Chen Ling actually had 3 scenes of using Wi-Fi, which is a big headache just thinking about it. Director Su pointed this out specifically and added, "If you want to adjust the shooting date, I can make another arrangement." Today, Chen Ling wore a sassy high ponytail and moon-white clothes. Her waist was straight and she looked in high spirits. She said, "No, as long as the chef can handle the food, I'll be fine." Master Via's surname is Cai, and everyone nicknames him Cai Wen. It's the cabbage with great boxing skills in the game Plants vs. Zombies. Master Cai is a tall and sturdy man in his early 30s. Despite his appearance, Master Cai is extremely cautious. So meticulous that everyone finds it annoying. Almost every time, before an actor uses wires, Master Cai will routinely check all key parts. After using Weah, he will also perform maintenance as usual. Operating wire is particularly laborious. That's why Chen Ling said this. Master Cai smiled heartily, "Don't say 5 games, even 10 more games will be fine." So, the filming officially started. The first scene is between Chen Yuxu and Bai Qingqin. Both of them were hanging wire, and they only failed once and passed. The second scene is a fight between Chen Ling and the assassin, which is also about Wei Yat. Chen Ling passed the filming of the scene in one go. After that, Master Cai debugged Weah and shot some daily scenes on the set. The morning's shooting ended very smoothly. After eating lunch at noon, everyone took a short rest. Chen Ling hurriedly finished her meal and went to touch up her makeup. Then she hung up the wire again. This scene shows Chen Ling being chased by the enemy and forced to climb up and down the ancient city wall to avoid the enemy's arrows. This time the wire was hung very high, 12 meters, as high as the ancient city wall of Xianyang. The staff checked that the waist was tied again. Chen Ling took a breath and made an OK gesture to the master. Weah's rope became longer and longer, and Chen Ling was quickly pulled off the ground. 1 meter, 3 meters, 10 meters, 12 meters. Chen Ling's waist was tied by 2 thin wire ropes and hung 12 meters above the ground. The crew members all looked up, feeling the pain in Chen Ling's waist. Chen Ling adjusted his body balance and prepared to move. At this moment, the roller part wrapped with steel bars suddenly made a very ominous sound. Sizzle. One of the two steel bars tied to Chen Ling's waist broke unexpectedly. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The soul travels through the 18th line, the female agent is killing crazy in the entertainment. Author, Buletin Yehoyun Li. Chapter 466. A steel wire broke from the roller part on the ground. Suddenly losing a rope, Chen Ling's body hanging in the air instantly lost balance and fell diagonally towards the ancient city wall. The castration was extremely rapid. Director Su's heart almost stopped beating instantly. In the sun, the smart and intelligent girl was like a butterfly with its wings clipped, rushing towards death. Screams rang out on the set. And Chen Ling, who was in it, had no time to be afraid. The moment she felt her body lose balance, she realized what was happening. At the same time, she realized that she was facing three crises at the moment. First, if she fell on the city wall like this, she would either die or be disabled. Second, if she fell on the city wall, even if she was lucky enough to be fine, the city wall would also be damaged. But the city wall is a genuine antique. She cannot destroy the integrity and historical value of the National Key Cultural Relic Protection Unit. Third, breaking the steel wire and tying it around her waist is a terrible killer. Chen Ling remained calm in the face of danger, and pulled off her belt with her right hand. The belt was a thick silk belt with exquisite patterns embroidered on it. She swung it hard, and the thick belt, like a snake, tightly wrapped around her right hand. Without hesitation, she reached back with her right hand to grab the intact steel bar behind her waist. And the broken steel bar, like a steel whip, accurately whipped towards Chen Ling. Chen Ling grabbed the steel bar with her backhand, and exerted force on her waist and abdomen. I saw her whole body draw a beautiful arc in the air with her hand as the center. The broken steel bar rubbed her body and swung in the air. Like a whip, it made a huge cracking sound of twitching air. The eardrums of all the crew members were slightly hurt by the sound, and their hair stood on end. Chen Ling did not relax. She had already swung to the edge of the ancient city wall. When her toes touched the wall, Chen Ling released her right hand that was tightly holding the steel bar. She wanted to use running to slow down the impact force and avoid causing damage to the wall. She shouted, "Let it go." Master Cai's face was pale. He endured the heartbeat that almost jumped out of his chest and operated quickly to lengthen the only remaining steel bar. At this moment, Chen Ling was like acting in a real martial arts drama. She was almost lying horizontally on the ancient city wall, and her toes were tapping on the ancient city wall quickly. And the steel bar that missed the attack, due to inertia, was pulled towards Chen Ling again. After all, the other end of the steel bar was still firmly fixed on Chen Ling's waist. Chen Ling ran diagonally from the top of the ancient city wall. She listened to the sound of breaking air behind her, gritted her teeth, and ran with all her strength. A strong fishy smell surged in her throat, her chest rose and fell violently, and there was a strong tearing pain. But her speed did not slow down at all. She was about to run to the ground. Chen Ling put her hands on the belt of the wire and quickly unfastened the three safety buckles. She regained her freedom. Many staff members who reacted ran towards Chen Ling and wanted to help her. Chen Ling waved her arms and roared, "Go away." Everyone was stunned, and then turned around and ran away without hesitation. The next moment, she ran to the ground. And another steel bar, like a maggot attached to the bone, was about to hit Chen Ling. Chen Ling had already seen it. As soon as she landed, she flipped sideways and grabbed a human-powered wheelbarrow on the ground. This was a prop prepared by the props team. She exerted all her strength, gritted her teeth, and the blue veins on her forehead popped out. "Hey!" With her roar, the wheelbarrow was thrown out by her. Then, Chen Ling fell to the ground. I don't know what kind of cleverness Chen Ling used, the steel cable was like noodles, quickly wrapped around the wheelbarrow. With a bang, the wheelbarrow fell to the ground. The body of the wheelbarrow was wrapped with several circles of steel bars. The steel bars were extremely powerful. The wheelbarrow was squeezed and deformed. Chen Ling fell to the ground and did not move for a long time. The studio was dead silent. The soul travels through the 18th line, the female agent is killing crazy in the entertainment. Author, Bulletin Yehoyun Li. Chapter 467. In the dead silence, Chen Ling, who was lying on the ground, spit out the dirt in her mouth with a puh sound, supported herself with one hand, and stood up. Ah, Teacher Chen, how are you? Big sister. Lingling. A chaotic shouting sounded on the set, and people rushed towards her. Bai Qingqian rushed over the fastest. She stumbled several steps in the middle and almost fell. She rushed over, grabbed Chen Ling's arm, her voice was high and sharp, and her speed was very fast. Lingling. How are you? Are you injured? Sister Sen, I'm fine, Chen Ling said, slightly panting. Her face was flushed and her forehead was sweating. Her expression was not very good. Before Bai Qingqian could breathe a sigh of relief, he caught a glimpse of Chen Ling's right palm. Her palm was stained with blood, and the steel bar cut a 7 or 8 centimeter cut on her palm, and the white flesh was turned out. In mid-air, although Chen Ling's right palm was wrapped in a thick belt, the steel bar was too thin and too strong, and her palm was inevitably cut by the steel bar. Bai Qingqian's face turned pale, his throat gurgled, his lips trembled, and he looked like he was about to vomit, but he still barely held it back, and shouted loudly, "Medical box! Quick!" Seeing the stage attendant running over with a white medical box, Bai Qingqian covered his mouth and walked to the side quickly, holding his agent Decay's hand and vomiting. Then, more people rushed over. Chen Ling's agent Wang Zhen only took a look, bent down and held Chen Ling's face, looked up and down, and after confirming that she was fine, walked to the side to call her family. Chen Ling was pulled to sit on the chair next to her. The stage attendant lady in charge of medical treatment helped her simply disinfect the wound, stop the bleeding and bandage it. The wound was too hideous, and the stage attendant lady had a hard time stopping the bleeding. Big sister, you must go to the hospital for bandage. The wound is very deep. I don't know if you have any injuries. Chen Ling knew her body well. She let the staff wrap her with gauze and said calmly, "It's okay. No injuries. Don't rush to the hospital." Director Su's face was pale. He felt his legs were as soft as noodles. Chen Ling, are you okay? Don't hold on. Call an ambulance. I heard that the quieter and calmer you are after being injured, the more serious the wound will be. Old Su, don't worry, I'm really fine. It won't be too late to go to the hospital after I finish dealing with things here. Master Cai of Wea stumbled to Chen Ling's side. When he saw Chen Ling sitting on the stool intact, he sat down on the ground. This strong man who was nearly 1.9 meters tall burst into tears without caring about his image. Teacher Chang, fortunately you are okay. Fortunately, you are okay. Chen Ling opened his mouth and wanted to say something, but held back. After adjusting her heartbeat and thoughts, she said to Master Cai, "Get up first and go with me to see what went wrong." After that, she stood up. Master Cai, with tears hanging from his nose and red eyes, followed Chen Ling to the wheelbarrow that was deformed by the steel bars. Chen Ling was analyzing in her mind. Master Cai worked very seriously, and the crew attached great importance to the safety of the actors. The wire equipment was the safest on the market. Where was the problem? She bent down and carefully checked the broken end of the steel bar. 2/3 of the broken part of the steel bar had neat cuts. The remaining 1/3 was pulled very thin. Chen Ling's face was extremely bad. This was clearly a deliberate sabotage by someone. The other party was very cruel and did not cut it all off to prevent the wire master from finding it in advance. It was not cut very deep either. 2/3 of the cuts would break after being used for a period of time. In addition, the position he cut was also very particular. It was near the end of the entire steel bar. This part of the steel bar is pressed by other steel bars, and the cut is not visible. Moreover, it is not needed at normal heights. This part of the steel bar is only used at extremely high heights. The actor is hung at such a high place, and the steel bar breaks. That is a major safety accident. How vicious is the intention? This is an indiscriminate attack. The other party just wants to cause trouble to the crew. Chen Ling is extremely lucky. It is herself who is hanging on the wire today. If it were any other actor in the crew, he would either die or be disabled. Chen Ling was surprisingly angry. The soul travels through the 18th line. The female agent is killing crazy in the entertainment. Author, Buletin Yehoyun Li. Chapter 468. The shooting plan of the crew is very random. If the actors are not in good condition, they may make multiple NGs or change the shooting scenes temporarily. Chen Ling can be sure that this wire break accident is definitely not aimed at a certain person. Then, it can only be aimed at the crew. Targeting the crew, it is most likely done by competitors. In fact, every time a new TV series is filmed, each company has its own publicity methods. Some write soft articles, promote new dramas through forums and news releases. Some use social platforms such as Weibo and WeChat to create popularity and attract popularity by using celebrity effects, brand effects, and crew teams. Some use celebrity hype and revelations, positive or negative news, to attract people's attention to new dramas. Some also suppress the other party and praise themselves by belittling the same period, crushing the texture, the team, the acting skills, the special effects, etc. These are all common means. Acceptable. But this kind of behavior of creating trouble for other crews, harming others for self-interest, and disregarding human lives is really despicable and shameful. The Song of Light and Blood is a novel written by Chen Ling word by word during her rest and sleep time, which embodies her hard work. The adaptation into a script and the large-scale and careful casting are the reflection of her emphasis on the film and television adaptation of this novel. This drama is like her child. If a safety accident happens today, then the Song of Light and Blood will die. The great efforts made by the director, producer, actors, and the entire crew will be wasted. It's just a little bit short. There are hundreds of TV dramas that die every year. This one is not missing. Chen Ling held the broken steel bar in his left hand. The 2/3 cut reflected a bright metallic luster under the sunlight. Master Cai, this cut is very fresh. It must have happened in the past few days. It may be something that happened at some point. Do you have any idea? Master Cai wiped the sweat from his forehead. He was desperate. But in despair, there was also frustration. Master Cai liked this crew too much. The director and producer were very friendly, the actors were not arrogant, and they cooperated with the wire work seriously. The other staff members were very enthusiastic and helped each other when they had something to do. In just a few days, they were as familiar as a family. However, after such an incident, the crew could not keep him any longer. It was such a good crew, but he was leaving. Even if he died, he would die with a clear mind. He wanted to see who would make him lose his job. Luckily, Chen Ling was very skilled, otherwise, it would not be as simple as losing his job. Master Cai frowned and tried hard to recall. The day before yesterday I stayed by the wire equipment all day, and after I finished using it, I put the steel bars on the rollers and locked them in the warehouse. The whole crew was listening to him. Yesterday, I was also at the wire equipment, until the fans came to visit yesterday. Master CAI clapped his hands suddenly. Oh, it was yesterday at noon when the fans came to visit. I locked the equipment and went to eat. After I came back from dinner, I found that the direction of the equipment lock had changed. At that time, I asked Xiao Lu from our crew if someone touched my equipment. Xiao Lu laughed at me for being neurotic. A crew member named Lu immediately confirmed what Master CAI said. Yes, Master CAI asked me about this. But I didn't take it seriously. In broad daylight, who would have nothing to do here? Master CAI stood up suddenly. Is there still that person's fingerprint on the equipment? Chen Ling felt the piercing pain in his right palm and shook his head slowly. Master CAI, don't get excited. I think the other party was most likely to have done it at that time. Last night's heavy rain washed away any traces at the scene, and fingerprints and the like could not be left. Besides, even if it didn't rain, we couldn't find his fingerprints. He is a meticulous person. Director Su asked, what do you mean? The other party knew about the visit in advance and mixed into the fan club, bringing tools for unlocking and special tools for cutting steel bars. These things are not available everywhere. He waited patiently nearby until Master CAI locked the door and left. Everyone present couldn't help but follow Chen Ling's words and outline the scene at that time in their minds. A plain-looking man with the same fanatical expression on his face as the fans, calling out the fans' names together, but his eyes were always looking for opportunities. Until Master CAI locked the equipment and left the scene. He grabbed his pockets and slowly walked to the side of the wire equipment. Looking around, no one noticed this corner, so he buried his head in unlocking. He opened the lock, pulled away the loose steel bars wrapped on the top, exposing the steel bars wrapped on the bottom, and used some kind of laser cutter to steadily cut 2/3 of it. Then, he covered the steel bars on top, closed the door and locked it. Then he walked back to the crowd. He left the scene with his fans. Calm and decisive. How can we find him now? Director Su asked. We don't have cameras on the set. Installing cameras on the set can easily leak footage from the filming process. Similar things have happened before. The owner of the rented studio sold the filming process, including the embarrassing scenes of the actors, to the paparazzi, causing the crew to suffer heavy losses. Chen Ling said, we are trying to collect the information of the fans who came to visit the set today, as well as the videos and photos they took. That person might have been in the shot. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The soul travels through the 18th line. The female agent is killing crazy in the entertainment. Author, Bulletin Yehoyun Li. Chapter 469. Chen Ling continued, moreover, the tampering with the wires should not be directed at me, but at the entire crew. Director Su, do you think it is possible that they are in cahoots with Jia Shixin and the others? You mean, Flying Cloud Sword has made 2 preparations, Director Su asked. I just highly doubt it, Chen Ling said. Actually, I really don't like the crew of Flying Cloud Sword. Director Su carefully chose his words. He is a person who hates talking about others behind their backs. I have met the producer of Flying Cloud Sword. He is, well, how should I put it, he is a person who can do anything to achieve his goals. Chen Ling knew what was going on. She put down the steel bar in her hand and stood up. Director Su, I'm so sorry, you have to adjust the shooting order. She raised her injured hand. I have to go to the hospital to treat the wound and get a tetanus shot. I'll come back later and discuss with you which scenes can be filmed with my injured hand. Ah, Director Su was stunned. We should continue filming. Shoot. Why not? Chen Ling curled her lips and sneered. Isn't the other party afraid that they can't compete with us if they release the film at the same time as us? Our filming progress is delayed and we can't smoothly broadcast it during the Spring Festival. Isn't it in line with the other party's wishes? Director Su, Ask everyone, are you willing to stop? No, everyone on the set responded in unison. Chen Ling smiled. Everyone in the theater held their breath. If you take a break at this time, it will be like being afraid of the other party and surrendering voluntarily. Director Su, I'll go to the hospital. You can continue filming after the police have finished their investigation. Director Su was worried, I'll find someone to accompany you. Chen Ling waved her hand, I know everyone cares about me and loves me. It doesn't matter whether they accompany you or not. Let's not be formalistic. Besides, I still have my sister Zhen and Xing Xing to accompany me. Wang Zhen and Lin Langxing immediately walked behind Chen Ling. Chen Ling turned to leave, but she remembered something, stopped, turned around, and glanced at Master Cai, who looked pale. She said, Director Su, I have a small suggestion about this accident. Director Su said thinking that she had discovered some safety hazards again, and immediately asked, what suggestions? Although the accident happened on the wire, it's not Master Cai's fault. When the accident just happened, if Master Cai hadn't adjusted the wire to cooperate with me and let the long line go, I would have had a broken leg at the least. Master Cai raised his head suddenly. Chen Ling continued. Besides, our crew is also responsible. It is really inconvenient for Master Cai to watch the wire work alone. His seriousness and responsibility are obvious to all. People have 3 urgent needs, and Master Cai always has to eat and go to the toilet. Now it seems that locking the equipment is not safe, so we should arrange a person for Master Cai, so that someone can watch the equipment when he handles his personal affairs. So, I hope that the crew will not fire Master Cai. Where can we find such a good wire work master? After this incident, Master Cai will only be more serious. Don't you think so, Master Cai? The ironclad man's eyes were red again. Master Cai nodded fiercely, muttering in a low voice, Chen, Teacher Chen, yes, I will be more cautious. Chen Ling smiled, everyone shoot well. Kill them all during the Spring Festival. The people on the set ignited a raging fighting spirit. Chen Ling turned and walked away quickly. Agent Wang Zhen and assistant Lin Langxing followed closely. As soon as she left the set, Wang Zhen's calmness disappeared in an instant. She held Chen Ling's elbow with both hands and gasped. Hiss Ling Ling, does it hurt? I'm just talking nonsense, oh my god. How can it not hurt when there is so much blood? Lin Langxing shed tears silently and choked, Sister Ling, don't bear it, just cry if it hurts. Lin Langxing is not a delicate person. Once she fell while riding a shared bicycle, and a layer of skin was scraped off her palm. She couldn't stand the pain. And Sister Ling's palm was cut so big and so much blood came out. Thinking of this, her tears fell. Wang Zhen felt distressed, anxious and angry. Lin Langxing's crying brought out her tears. Chen Ling looked at her agent and assistant crying like a tearful person, and she didn't know whether to laugh or cry. I haven't cried yet, why are you two crying? It's not that the wound doesn't hurt, but Chen Ling is used to enduring. Wang Zhen said with tears in her eyes, because you endured it, I couldn't endure it anymore. You too, really? Chen Ling gently hugged the two of them in her arms. The anger in her heart disappeared by a large margin. The soul travels through the 18th line, the female agent is killing crazy in the entertainment. Author, Buletin Yehoyun Li. Chapter 470. Clean the wound, spray medicine, anesthetize, and sew. Chen Ling's palm received a total of 16 stitches. After the tetanus shot, the doctor gave Chen Ling a lot of instructions and told him to come to him to remove the stitches in 15 days. Chen Ling thanked him and walked out of the consulting room. Wang Zhen on the side immediately handed over her phone. Chen Ling was stunned, took the phone, and looked at the phone screen, Cheng Zai's landline. Hello. Girl Ling, How many stitches did you need? It's Mrs. Cheng. Grandpa went to their house? Grandpa, are you too well informed? Chen Ling said with a smile. 16 injections, and the stitches will be removed in 15 days. The injured palm will not leave a scar. Why are you willing to leave those precious vegetables of yours? The tomatoes in the greenhouse are all ripe. This batch of tomatoes is of good quality and everything is fine. So I picked some and sent them to your home. Your agent happened to call your home, and I heard it from the side, Mr. Cheng explained in a few words. Then, he asked in a sharp voice, tell me the truth to Grandpa, is it the grandsons from Flying Cloud Sword who are behind this? Hey! Do you still know Flying Cloud Sword? You usually surf the internet a lot. I'm just talking about you young people, are you too stereotyped? In the information age, information represents money. How do you think Grandpa makes so much money? Is he well informed? That person named Jia Shixin, don't think about being in this industry again. I said hello to a few old friends. And the crew of Flying Cloud Sword. Mr. Chen not only served, but also contributed to the situation. Fi Yun Sword dares to bully his family's spiritual girl and treat him as dead. Mr. Cheng's connections are no ordinary rich and powerful people. Mr. Cheng has a good reputation and never asks for help or talks about other people's rights and wrongs. This time, he told his old friends that he didn't like Flying Cloud Sword. Those old guys were so smart. They immediately called on their own people, those who had investments, to find a way to withdraw their investment, and those who wanted to cooperate, to cancel their cooperation. Currently, I am not 100% sure that Flying Cloud Sword is responsible. There are several TV series released during the Spring Festival. I have to check again. What are you checking? You are extremely busy every day and you are injured, so don't worry about it. Just leave it to Grandpa. Grandpa will help you clean up these dirty things. She smiled and said, Grandpa, don't you want to live your life well and not be tied down by mundane things? It depends on what happened, old Mrs. Cheng said, stroking his beard. The Cheng family's own affairs are important matters to Mr. Cheng. Thank you, Grandpa, Chen Ling thanked him sweetly. Grandpa is mighty. When Mr. Cheng takes action, one person is as good as 10. This girl. Mr. Cheng said happily, by the way, let me tell you to save you from worrying about it. The group of little girls you sent here have recovered very well both physically and mentally. The psychiatrist said, they have basically stopped taking sleeping pills now. Chen Ling arranged for a psychiatrist to come to the house for regular check-ups for the girls who escaped from the KTV magic cave. They have been severely damaged physically and mentally, and suffer from more or less mental illness. Mental illness is often more terrifying than physical illness. Chen Ling takes it very seriously and regularly asks the doctor about his condition. Mr. Cheng added, I hired a few capable retired female soldiers to help calm the situation. I usually don't go there to avoid making those children uncomfortable. That's great, Chen Ling said sincerely. You are so worried, Mrs. Cheng scolded. By the way, ask your crew later if they took any video of the wire breaking and how you narrowly avoided it today. If possible, send me a copy, I'll use it. Okay, I'll ask when I get back soon. Ling Yetu, please do your own thing with peace of mind. If you encounter anything that is inconvenient or troublesome, don't panic. You have your grandfather, your parents, your brothers and sisters. We are all your strong backing. Grandpa can't say those beautiful words, but the meaning is this. If you are smart, you will understand what I mean.